Manchester City blew a 3-goal lead to draw 3-3 with Feyenoord at the Etihad. It ended a run of 5 successive losses for them, but they are now without a win in 6. The result means then City have conceded 2 or more goals in 6 successive matches in all competitions for the first time since May 1963. We briefly mentioned it, didn't we, earlier on? We're all looking at 3-0 up City. They're getting back to their best. They're getting back to the City that we've been wondering where they've been for the last 5 games. How do they go from that to then conceding 3 as quickly as they did?
It's amazing. From viewing from the outside, and you're looking in, you're thinking, oh, it has to change. Things have got to be right. So then you see the 3-0 up. And look, there's been you mentioned goals against. Their last 6 games now, they've conceded 17 goals.
Wow.
So that's nearly 3 a game. For a team that always renowned for their defensive qualities, not only their attacking ability, and watching them collapse is just extraordinary. And he's made loads of changes. Akanji's come in, Ake's come in, you've seen Rico Lewis, Kyle Walker's played, the Stones. You know, it feels like whoever they put together can't seem to... and Edison's made a few mistakes as well. So it's been a really difficult watch, and I don't think... We're all looking at the game at the weekend, which tomorrow was Liverpool, and the argument is Man City. But that's all the argument is now. Where we knew that this team could go and get results and turn it around. Extraordinary. I mean, Feyenoord were blown away. And then suddenly it's 3-3. And when it started, as soon as it went in the first one, I weren't there, but I could feel it, and you could see the reaction.
Even Pep had his sort of head in his hands, and you're thinking, he already knows. He already can sense maybe there's a vulnerability there. Yeah, this could turn very, very easily. They're 17th in the Champions League table now as a result of that.
That's mad. That's just mad.
I know. Contrast, of course, to your side, who are flying.
Well, no, look, it's really difficult to put a finger on, because when it's not one issue wrong with Man City, it's not one thing. There's a lot of things that are going wrong, and it's individual performance mainly. Because when you have one player playing badly, you can drop them, someone can come in, and you can still carry on. But they've had probably 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 players who are playing under par. That's a big problem.
Yeah, and is there also that fact of, they lost Julian Alvarez, for example, a player they didn't really replace. No. Are they just expecting too much, for example, on Haaland?
Well, he's still... he's still top goal scorer.
No, he is still delivering. But
imagine if he didn't score.
Well, I know.
If Haaland didn't score this season, imagine if Haaland would be on 4 goals. We'd be looking at a team that would be mid-table or below. Because he's been instrumental in them getting goals. He's probably been their best player, even without him being brilliant. He's still been their best player so far this season.
Yeah. Well, he scored 12 goals, and they've scored 22 in total. So kind of goes to show how reliant, in a way, they are on him. But you just sort of wonder, now is the time where they're discussing, did we not give Pep enough in the summer to bolster his
I think
team?
that's a fair argument. I think they're always improving. Fergie was brilliant at that, always going, yes, this is what we need going into next season. They could be champions, or they could have won a competition, made the Champions League final. It was always trying to improve, and I think this is probably the season that City, even though they were very successful last year, should have added quality to already gifted squad. Because you're fighting for places in big clubs. We would have argued that Man City had 2 players for every position. It's basically what Chelsea have got. Look at the competition at Chelsea. That's drove that club upwards, because anybody who's been left out is because I can change you if you're not playing well. And that's a great thing for a manager to have. If you're not doing it, I can leave you out, because he can.
I mean, actually, can we question a few of the recent signings of Manchester City? Matheus Nunes, has he really delivered?
Not bad, but I see he's a good player, but he hasn't really settled. I think, if you look over the years of how many wingers Pep has signed, it's extraordinary. Really, and whether you call them wing backs or wingers, they've had so many that have been in and out of the football club. Some too quick. Yeah. Some have gone too quickly.
Yeah. Well, we can go back to Leroy Sané, can't we, and wonder what happened there, really.
Well, Mahrez left, and you still felt there was a bit in his tank, but he obviously went as well. But there's loads of them, that have left.
But you can even go into Calvin Phillips. That was a move that never really worked. I know it was very difficult to dislodge someone like a Rodri, but still, and he, I think, has spoken since about how it just didn't work for him at all.
No.
At Manchester City. But yeah, there's just some question marks.
I mean, they've got Doku there. You know,
Yeah.
Doku's a good player.
Silvinho
is the number one. He's a really good player. You've got Jack Grealish. You've got Phil Foden. I think Silvinho has probably been their best winger so far this season.
No, very true. So whilst it's all question marks about what is happening with Manchester City, it's a very different story, of course, with your team Liverpool. As I was mentioning, they are top of the Champions League table as things stand. 5 wins out of 5. It's all going brilliantly in the Premier League as well. And with regards to Liverpool, they continued their 100% start to this Champions League after beating Real Madrid 2-0. It's like chalk and cheese with these two sides. Real Madrid, again, we're supposed to be asking what's happened to Real Madrid.
Well, number of issues with injury. I think Milito and Carvajal were really big for them. I also think Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo, they're big. Real Madrid really poor. Yeah. And I'm not taking away for anything from Liverpool, but I didn't think Liverpool played well at Southampton. I thought at Southampton they looked quite complacent, got away with it slightly, and there was a number of mistakes that Southampton made, and Liverpool punished them. I've said all season, Liverpool will score goals. I have no concerns in that area at all. But they're on a roll, and everything seems to be happening for them. That was a poor Real Madrid team, by the way.
Very poor, but very quickly a shout out for Queven Keller.
Yeah,
saving
again.
a penalty.
I know.
Someone you said a few weeks ago that you thought he should be number one really at Liverpool, even whilst Alisson, of course he is, whilst Alisson is out injured, but when he returns, you still think Keller should
absolutely, he's number one for me at the moment, and I wouldn't want to be changing a goalkeeper that's performed to a level as a really top number one. He's been extraordinary. He's not only done it with Liverpool, he's done it with Ireland as well.
Yeah,
so
true.
Fair play to him.
Well, there's a huge game coming up tomorrow as Liverpool take on Manchester City, and we will continue to build up to that one throughout the show.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.